Hi, my name is Jason, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made this desk on modern ideation.
First, I'll be starting with the desktop. I purchased this 4-foot by 8-foot board at my local hardware store. I'm trimming the end off so it'll be 7 foot long. And now once I'm finished with that, I'm cutting it directly down the middle so that it'll have a depth of 2 feet. As you can see here, I'm pretty far away from my cut. I would definitely recommend using a sawhorse or something instead of a table so that you can be a little bit closer to your cut. Now after setting the desktop aside, I'm moving on to the cuts for the legs. The vertical cuts for the legs are about 26¼ inches, since the average desk height is about 29 inches or so. For the top part of the legs, I'm cutting it at 12 inches, and for the bottom, only 10 inches. That way it can have a slight taper effect towards the bottom. Now I'm taking a new board and once again cutting it in half. And as you can see, this time I have sawhorses. Now I can continue making cuts for the other set of legs. Now for the slanted cut, I've already angled the blade at 5 degrees, and for the other side I'll just be sanding it down since 5 degrees is such a small angle. I found the angle and the length of the slanted cut by using Pythagorean theorem. As you can see, now I have all the cuts for the legs. Now I'm just temporarily assembling the leg together so that I can sand the other end to size. Note that I'm pre-drilling all the holes before putting in the screws to make sure that the wood doesn't split. And once you're happy with the fitment, you can move on. Now I'm just taking the parts of the legs and sanding and filling with wood putty. And after letting it sit for 15 minutes or so, I'm coming back and sanding. Now I'm coming back and reassembling the leg, this time permanently with wood glue. As you can see, I'm filling the screw hole and I'm making sure to overfill it. That way when I come back with the sander, I can sand it perfectly flush. And I'm repeating the same process for the other leg. And now that I'm done with both the legs, I'm going to move on to the bottom desk support. Now I'm just cutting a piece that's 6 inches shorter in length and width than the desktop. The desktop will have an offset of 3 inches. And now I'm making the desk support bracket an inch away from the desk legs. And now that I know where I want to put the brackets, I'm making the cuts for them and the drawer walls. As you can see here, I used a little trick where I drew a line between the 2 screw heads. That way I could accurately predict where the board was. Now I'm taking out the drawer sliders. These are surprisingly easy to install. All I needed to do was install one side to the bracket and the other to the bottom of the drawers. Now I'm taking the distance between the 2 brackets minus the sliders to find the distance I'll need for the drawer. Now I'm cutting it to the same depth as the desk support and adding the pieces that we cut earlier. After I installed the slides to the bottom of the drawer, I thought I was ready and set to go. But unfortunately, I ran into a problem. So I went back and made the drawer wall 2 inches shorter than that of the bracket. After I reassembled everything, I tried it again, and this time everything went smoothly. I was happy about that. Now I can continue on to make the rest of the drawer walls. Now, as you can see, I basically have all the components needed. The only thing left is the drawer face. Now, I'm making the drawer face the same length as the outside brackets. And tall enough to cover the drawer and reach the bottom of the desktop. And now I'm just sketching up a drawer handle that'll be big enough to fit my hand easily. And now I'm just sanding to smooth the face and the edges. And now that we're finished with that, we can move on to the prep work for painting. After I finished sanding everything with the 80 grit sandpaper, I then moved on to the 360 grit sandpaper, and then repeated the same process. After I'd finished sanding with the 360 grit sandpaper, I went back with a semi-wet rag and removed all the dust. I also used a vacuum to blow off any remaining dust. And then I began to apply primer followed by paint, making sure to allow each coat to dry. For extra protection, I laid down several coats of polyurethane. After letting it sit and cure for a couple of days, I then began to assemble the desk support to the desktop, making sure that the desk support was in the center before screwing it in. Now I'm applying hot glue to the back of the drawer face so I can temporarily glue it to the drawer. I couldn't actually record myself do this process because by the time I applied the hot glue and then repositioned the camera, the glue had dried, but it would be the same concept that you follow through with. As you can see, I'm using a shim to give me a space between the drawer face and the desktop. And then I'm simply holding it in place until the glue dries. And once the drawer face is glued to the drawer, you just follow through some screws to permanently secure it. And that's it. Overall, I'm extremely happy with how this project came out. So let me know if you think I did a good job or if you think there are some things I need to improve. Also, any tips or tricks? Just let me know by hitting the thumbs up button and leaving a comment down below. And make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. That way you can stay updated with all the future projects. And I'll see you next time on Modern Ideation.